It was a rough summer, 2023. Travis and I had quite a few arguments about the carnivore diet, and I told him I will never do the carnivore diet. So I can't believe I'm sitting here today talking about this. I just didn't ever want to do this, but I finally got up my courage and I'm going to tell you a little story today. So welcome to my dining room. Sit back, grab a seltzer water, whatever you got going on, and let's just have a little talk. So I had been doing a meal plan, I guess you would say, for about 10 years. And I am kind of an all or nothing type person. I would go to birthday parties, I'd go to whatever parties, and I would always take my own food because I was that strict on the way that I ate. And the program was really well balanced. Fruits, vegetables, healthy carbs, small amounts of healthy carbs, healthy fats, protein, superfoods. Like every single meal that I used to eat was just packed with as many nutrients as I could get in there. And they also wanted us to eat every 3 to 4 hours. So I was watching the clock and I was either starving and waiting for the 3-hour mark to hit, or I wasn't even hungry. It had maybe been 5 or 6 hours and I hadn't been hungry at all. And that was probably more of the norm for me, as my hunger indicators, whatever, had gotten broken over the years. And I didn't even know that I was hungry. The whole family knew I was hungry though, because I would get hangry. Have you ever heard of hangry? So that's hungry and angry at the same time. And I would just get to this point where I would start crashing, like mentally. Major brain fog would quickly move in, and I would just all of a sudden get really irritated and aggravated, and everybody knew, hey mom, can I get you something to eat? And I actually hated that and I loved that. Like I didn't love that they said that, and I was like, I'm fine. But anyway, yeah, so that was a pretty regular occurrence of just highs and lows in that regard. So anyway, I was the reason I ate that way was because I had a lot of health issues. I had spent tens of thousands of dollars on naturopaths, holistic doctors, like all the different natural doctors, as well as regular doctors. I started with the regular doctors, and they literally would tell me I'm fine. And one doctor specifically very rudely said, I don't know what's wrong with you. And I was like, wait, I still have to pay you? So anyway, it was really discouraging. It's been a journey. But anyway, I felt the best eating the way that I most recently had. But it was coming to the point where I had just inflammatory pain all over my body. I had headaches all the time. I had bloated tummy. I looked pregnant. And I had gas issues. I had acne. I actually made a list last night because I didn't want to forget all the things. Well, I'll go through this list here in a few minutes. It was bad. Like, eating as healthy as I was. I mean, we had our own garden. You guys saw us, like, we were growing our own food. That's where I ate out of. A lot was my own garden. I didn't eat all organic, but I'm very aware of things, and the things you can eat organic and the things you don't have to necessarily eat organic, things like that. So like, I have been so conscientious. But anyway, I was still having this list. The list that I wrote yesterday was 15 things that I was struggling with that I don't struggle with at all anymore. There's probably another 10 things on additionally on a list that I'm still healing, and I'm very thankful, and I know that those healings are coming. But anyway, I'm just saying all this to say I was eating very healthy. People were always very impressed with me, and because I would bring my own food to the holidays, to, Christmas dinner, to whatever party or gathering there was, and everybody was like, man, you're so self-disciplined on your diet. And I'm like, it's not self-discipline, it's literally a matter of life and death for me. It's being bedridden with tons of pain or functioning. And so I chose functioning, and so I was very, very strict on my diet and getting all the nutrients into every single meal that I could possibly get. Okay, so I've written a couple of notes, so if I'm looking down, I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. But anyway, I was going to tell you that it was about August 2023 when my husband decided to start eating the carnivore diet, which is a meat-based diet, and anything that comes from an animal. Eggs are okay, bacon, butter, that kind of thing, as well as steaks, hamburger, chicken, all the meats. There's different variations of the diet, so you might be thinking, oh, that's not carnivore, or that's totally carnivore, or whatever, but there's kind of a range of carnivore when people say that. So anyway, he had started it kind of just wanting, I think, a little bit more energy and wanted to try it. And so he tried it, and he's 100% all in type person. He already had been eating basically meat and from our vegetable garden out back. He put a ton of research and studying into the composting and the dirt and the soil and the nutrients and the vitamins he would add and all the things. And so our, vegetable garden was awesome. And he would literally go out there, grab a pepper, start eating it like an apple, maybe throw a couple peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, and maybe a hamburger patty or something like that into his lunch bag, and he would take that to work for lunch. He was already a very clean eater. No sugar, absolutely not. No breads, no anything. His splurges were taco chips occasionally, like the corn chips, and then cheese. Those were his splurges. And so anyway, just cutting out the vegetables and I think he did have a few seeds and nuts. He'd cut out all the seeds and nuts, all the vegetables, and the taco chips, the corn chips, and he just went meat only. Bacon and eggs, steaks, hamburger patties, chicken thighs, things like that. Meat only. He immediately starts feeling all these results, and he's like, oh my gosh, I have no brain fog today. And I'm like, huh? What's that like? And then he, I don't even remember, like weeks, whatever, but it was very quickly that he started telling me, oh, I don't have this anymore. I don't have that anymore. I'm like, what in the world? And in the meantime, I'm eating my diet that is, I'm thinking, very clean, very balanced, very healthy. And I've got more and more inflammation pain, more and more bloating, more and more gas, I'm just being honest, more and more acne, more and more issues, like so much pain. And so it just was like a heavy cloud or blanket over me. It was depressing. I had anxiety. I would lay down in bed at night, and I let my doctor know, and she said, if you're laying down in bed and that's when your heart starts racing, it's anxiety. So I was like, I don't even know what else to do. So Travis kept encouraging me, just try it for a week. And I'm like, no way, I will never do the carnivore diet. That's crazy. It's not balanced. And, we all hear you need to have a balanced diet. Well, I had a balanced diet. I had all of the good, healthy things that grow from the earth. And I would have baobab powder, and people are like, what's baobab powder? And it's a superfood. And so I was eating all of these things, and I felt miserable, and I was literally gaining weight, constantly, just another point. And I'm like, what's going on? I can't keep doing this. And I literally got to a point, I hate saying this part, but I literally wondered what was wrong. And I hadn't been able to find any doctors out of the whole gamut of doctors I've tried over the years, you guys. Nobody could help me. Nobody knew what was wrong. People tried this and we tried that. And we tried the herbal teas and we tried all the supplements and we tried all the things, you guys, like all of the things, and nothing helped. It was so discouraging and so frustrating. But, and again, like I'm an all in type of girl. I was all in, and I just, you get to a point and you're like, I can't keep putting out money when I still feel terrible. So Travis starts telling me his list of things that are getting better as they're improving. One of the things was his shoulder. He had torn something when he was building the barn, and the doctors couldn't fix it. And that pain went away. Like he couldn't move his shoulder very well without hurting. That went away. He had tennis elbow. That went away. He had low back pain that we had one of those big exercise balls. He had to lean over that to stretch his lower back every single morning just to be able to function. And he would do it again a lot of times at nighttime. His back hurt so bad. He was going to the chiropractor often. He had brain fog. He had anxiety, and he had arthritis in his hands. So those are just the things I could remember last night off the top of my head. I wish that I would have taken notes throughout his journey. But honestly, he started in August 2023, and I was just mad at him. I don't know why. We got in several arguments because he was listening to all the science behind it too, which he would try to explain to me the science behind it. And he is very scientifically minded. And he was hearing, how our food is made. He was like hearing all this stuff. And I just thought, I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't like science. I think if you heard my homeschool, episode or whatever, I don't like science. So I'm like, I don't care about the science of it. I just blah, blah, blah. But I didn't care about the science of it. And yet my husband is happier, healthier, getting pain-free, moving on with his life with this new joy, this new youth. I couldn't believe it. In fact, my mom had sent us a picture of him, like just from a year or two before that. And again, you guys, he's eating like meat and seeds and nuts and out of our garden that he is like super guarding and protective of, and making sure that it's nutrient dense and great compost soil, all this stuff. That's all he's eating. That's all he was eating. When my mom took this picture of him, she sent the picture, and I'm like, honey, come here. And I did a side by side. Hopefully we can add it in here. He had just this bloated and this puffy face that I didn't even realize. But seeing him now, he's like so trim. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you were that puffy when you were just added back in, to the meat and the eggs that you eat now. You just had added it in the vegetables and the nuts and seeds. I couldn't believe it. Fast forward to November of 2023. I am getting sicker and sicker and more pain, depressed, overwhelmed, felt hopeless, didn't know what else to do. So discouraged because I was such a good girl. I was such a good girl on my diet and so faithful, so diligent. And I'm like, what else did I eat that might have been, hurting me? And it was so frustrating. And so every once in a while, he would try to encourage me to start carnivore. And I was like, So I'm doing my devotions one night. I'm reading my Bible and in bed, and I read a scripture verse. And it was actually the Proverbs 31, I think, the virtuous wife one. And I had been reading it in the King James Version, which says that she rose early and made meat for her family. And I thought, oh, ha, 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 Lord, you are so funny. meat, right? Because I had been thinking, okay, I kept praying. I'm like, God, if you want me to do carnivore diet, okay, maybe I'll start it in January, right? This is the beginning of November. And I'm thinking, if you want me to do carnivore diet, maybe I'll start January. But I'm going to eat as just, clean as I can. I'm going to see if there's anything else I can clean up in my diet, and see if I can get feeling better between now and then. So I'm reading this scripture, and it says she rises early in the morning to make meat for her family. And I'm like, ha, 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 meat? Like, that's in the Bible? Like, obviously, yes, meat's in the Bible, all that stuff. And I do not believe that the Bible is pro-carnivore diet. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm not saying that God told me that carnivore diet is his way and that's the only way. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that God was using that verse to get my attention. And that's kind of how he and I work together, and how I hear him sometimes is a fresh thought, or when I'm reading a scripture, something will stand out to me. And I just felt like he winked at me and he's like, yeah, honey, we're going to start the carnivore diet tomorrow. And I'm like, Lord, this is Monday night. Nobody starts a diet on Tuesday morning. We all start on Monday morning. Like, I can't do a Tuesday morning. And I just had looked back, and it was November 7th. I said, in the middle of the month? Who starts a diet in the middle of the month? Like, could we start December 1st or January 1st? And he's like, tomorrow. And I'm thinking, oh my word. And then I go, Lord, it's almost before Thanksgiving. You want me to start this diet, carnivore diet, before Thanksgiving? And just in God's sweetness, I just felt him smiling, and kind of like a parent might do of, it's what I said, tomorrow. Yep. And so I said, okay, Lord, I will. And I thought that he meant, we'll just go to Thanksgiving. And so I'm like, okay, I can do this for a couple weeks. And I'm just going to give it a try. And if it doesn't work, not going to do it. Well, it did work, surprisingly. And so I'm going to read to you my list. That night that I was reading the Bible, it was November 6th, because I started November 7th. But November 6th, I wrote in my journal what physical symptoms I had been dealing with. And I wondered if I was dying, you guys. I hate saying those words, but it was so scary to me how much pain I was in and all that. So I want to tell you that I have been on the carnivore diet for just about a year. I'm coming on my 1-year anniversary. I had no idea I could eat meat only or meat-based, animal products for 1 whole year, let alone feel this amazing doing it. So I've got a testimony. I've got a story. It's exciting. I hope it's encouraging to you. I hope some of you can relate. I'm not trying to make carnivore converts. I'm just telling you my story and what it's done for me. So I'm just going to kind of go through kind of quickly, because I don't want this video to be too long for you, although it could be, because there's lots of awesome things. I used to have a sore throat very often. I hardly ever have one anymore. I used to have food anxiety and overwhelm just around making a meal, every single meal, every 3 to 4 hours, thinking through all of the nutrients that needed to go into each one, knowing if I was going to have a high-fat, low-carb meal or a low-fat, high-carb meal. Each time was, it's supposed to be juggled around. I had so much anxiety over food and what I was going to feed myself, let alone my family. Anyway, I have so much freedom and peace of mind now. I love it. I literally eat and I move on with my day, and I've gotten so much more done. I have enjoyed my life so much more in this last year. It's amazing. I used to have trouble falling asleep and staying asleep. Sometimes if I would get up to use the restroom in the middle of the night, it would take me a long time to get back to sleep, or I would just wake up and not even have to go to the bathroom, and I'd have a really hard time going back to sleep. It could take me between 1 and 3 hours to fall asleep originally at night and again in the middle of the night. Needless to say, I was exhausted all the time. Now, I literally, okay, let me add in with that. I bought over $150 worth of supplements, natural, healthy. I don't like drugs. I don't like pharmaceutical stuff. It was healthy supplements, and I was spending at least $150 a month just to fall asleep and stay asleep. I need nothing now to fall asleep. I can't even imagine, or I can't believe it. I actually was terrified to try it because I'm like, I cannot afford one night without sleep. But I can't even remember how I did it. I think I kind of weaned off one at a time to kind of see, and I was like, oh, I'm still falling asleep, and oh, I don't need this one, and I'm still falling asleep, and oh, I don't need that one, and I'm still falling asleep. And I was staying asleep, and if I did have to get up to use the restroom, I fell right back to sleep, and it's been amazing. So we're saving $150, at least with that. I had terrible acne, you guys. Like y'all know, I'm 50, turned 50 this year, and I would have thought and hoped that acne would have been a thing of my high school days, and once you graduate, that's all gone. Nope, not for this girl. Constant. I still have some scarring on my neck and on my face, different places. I had constant acne all over my face. It was so embarrassing, so painful, so discouraging. I didn't like it. It was on my face, throat, neck, chin, forehead, temples, everywhere. I get occasional pimples, acne around my time of the month, and that's it. It's amazing. I'm like, yes, I do have a little bit of makeup on, but my skin is so much more clear. I would wake up with very blurry and weak eyes looking out in my backyard. Everything was just very blurry and that was scaring me also. I'm like, what in the world? I had very dry eyes, needing eye drops, and at the same time, my right eye constantly would drip, like tear. And, I'd be in church going like this all the time, and I'm like, I'm not crying, people. I got this stupid tearing eye. So that hardly ever tears anymore. It does occasionally, but like this was literally all the time. Like I said, I was very bloated. My tummy always hurt. Very just bloated, hard as a rock sometimes. Uncomfortable, gassy, diarrhea to constipation. I couldn't lose weight. I was consistently gaining weight, like a point here, a point there. I was at the heaviest I had ever been, and it was other than being pregnant. That was scary enough. I know there's the whole perimenopause thing, the midsection. I think that was that was a factor in all of it as well. But nonetheless, it's not fun to go through if you know what I mean. If you're in that time of life as well, it's like, what in the world? I had, like I said, anxiety at bedtime, and I had depression that I didn't realize. So I want to go back and say, for the blurry eyes, they are so much better. That is basically gone. I no longer need eye drops. My right eye hardly ever tears. The bloating in my stomach is gone. The pain in my stomach is gone. The gas, literally never. I didn't even know that was a thing, but literally never. Did have diarrhea to constipation. I'm extremely regular now. And with that, the time of the month, I can kind of go through a constipation thing. And I have just learned that if I take a magnesium pill, we're good. And then, okay, I couldn't lose weight. I was gaining weight. I have now lost between 20 and 25 pounds. Yay! So exciting. I've gone down at least 2 pants sizes. I just wore a pair of jeans the other day that was the 2 sizes smaller than I used to be. And one of my friends, she's like, you should have gone the size smaller. It's too baggy for you. And I'm like, what? So that was really fun. Made me feel good. And then the depression part. Now I feel happy. I feel content. I feel hopeful in my life. And I am a Christian. I'm a faith believer, a Bible believer. I was fighting depression and thinking it was a spiritual thing, and it can be, but I think that it also was very physical, and that all the stuff that my body was fighting, I just had a very negative mindset and very kind of hopeless in a sense, just because there was so much pain and so much all this stuff that I was wading through constantly. And so it was really cool because I had started this diet, the carnivore diet, November 7th, 2023. And then by the end of the year, so just what is that, a month and a half or something, I knew that I was going to be having my 50th birthday a couple months later. And I felt so joyful, so excited about my 50th birthday. I don't know how you turned, or how you felt when you turned 50, but I was so excited. I wanted it to be a year of fun, a year of traveling, just a year of joy and fun memories and laughter. And it's been just that. And I asked my husband, I said, did it seem like I used to be depressed before carnivore? And he's like, well, you were a little negative, and just kind of complaining and stuff, which is not my heart at all. And that's not my character of who I normally am. I'm a very thankful person, but I had gotten just weighted down. So anyway, I just want to say, I think that's kind of done with my notes, but that is my testimony. So I started November 7th. This is mid-October 2024. So I'm almost coming on a year. So I have been very nervous. A lot of people might share their carnivore journey. I literally was so skeptical of it. I didn't even want to say anything on YouTube or to anybody really, because I thought everybody was going to think I'm crazy. And you know what? I don't care if you think I'm crazy, because I know the major testimony, the major physical blessings that my husband has received. I know all the physical things that I have received. Our kids have all tried it off and on. They get really great results. That's kind of their story to share. They're not doing it for weight loss. They're doing it for some other reasons. And they've had amazing testimonies. It's hard for them because they're younger. They like to go out with their friends. They love pizza. Like, who doesn't love pizza? Things like that. But they have gotten great results. We've got family members that have done it. They've gotten great results. Like, it has been truly amazing. And so, balanced diet or not, I don't understand the science of it. My husband does. And I trust his leadership. I trust him, and I've seen the results. I saw him start without me. I saw him start with my resistance and my little snarky remarks and attitudes. I'm so sorry, honey. Would you please forgive me? I'm saying that publicly. I've said it to you privately, but anyway. So that's it. The cat's out of the bag. I've gone carnivore, and somebody had asked me, how long do you think you're going to stay carnivore? And honestly, I don't know. I might be in it for life because there's so many benefits. I mean, just literally the part of I eat when I'm hungry. Oh, my hunger thingy got fixed too, by the way. I know when I'm hungry now. And I go eat, like I'll go make a steak or I'll go make a hamburger patty and put some cheese and bacon on it. I actually eat like 2 or 3 hamburger patties with the cheese and bacon for a whole meal. But, I'll have bacon and eggs for breakfast. I want to do more videos of, what I eat in a day, treats that I make, things like that. On my 1-year anniversary, I want to put out a video, kind of a celebration video with you for my 1-year anniversary of being carnivore. So anyway, it's been wonderful. I love it. I love making my bacon and eggs in the morning. I have a coffee, and then I just go on with my day. I am not weighted down with, what am I going to eat? How much of this? How much of that? Let's measure this. Let's measure that. Like, it's so easy. I have my life back. I've gotten so much more done in my life. I've been able to help people. I've been able to visit people. I've been able to encourage people. Like, my life, my brain, my schedule is so much more freer eating this way, just because there's just nothing else to have to think about. It's just easy. So anyway, that's my story, and I wanted to share it with you. I hope it's encouraging to you, and if you are carnivore, I would love to know some of your favorite meals, and I'll be doing different videos coming up of what I eat and little recipe things that I make and stuff. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful and encouraging, and if not, hopefully you could be happy for me, because I feel so much better. I'm so grateful to not be in a place anymore of thinking or wondering if I'm dying. So that's very, very nice. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.